to Straight Facts on Friday, always joined by the Don Husam. Today, another one of the members of Straight Facts, Savva, is here as we look ahead towards the Manchester derby, Chelsea and Arsenal's games. We talk about Mo Salah. Is he in the GOAT debate in the Premier League? And of course, we're looking ahead of Tottenham's chances of getting 5 points clear in the Premier League tonight. And I'm sure it's going to get into a heated Tottenham debate between these two on that. Hit the like buttons, subscribe, and turn on bell notifications if you've not done that yet. But Sam, first of all, how are you, mate? Are you well?
Yeah. I'm good. I saw Savva call me out on a Straight Fact, so I don't hide from anyone. This is the third call out, actually. So, you know, we're here, not by Savva, I mean by other members of the Straight Facts, but we're here. You get me. Big up everyone who's watching. Big up the Terrace audience. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. By the way, it's not my fault or Savva's fault or Terry's fault that we're late. It's all KJ's fault. Hashtag KJ out in the chat right now. It's all 100% his fault. So blame him for this show being late, not us. But yeah, big up you guys, man.
There we go. Lots to talk about, but I did want to start with the big game tonight because it kicks off in what, 3.5 hours time. It's a big one for Tottenham because although it's still early in the season, there is a chance to go 5 points clear. And you have no one knows yet what's going to happen in Arsenal and Liverpool and Man United and Man City's game. And it's a big opportunity for pressure to be put on the chasing pack tonight. How do you see the game going, Savva? Are you confident that Spurs will get over the line?
I mean, I'm confident with tonight. Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at tonight as an isolated game, let's be brutally honest, let's call it for what it is. If we don't beat Crystal Palace, it's failure. Crystal Palace are a hard-working. I put them in the same bracket as Fulham. They're a hard-working team. They're going to be compact. They're going to sit in, but they don't have a lot of goal threat. So to lose to Crystal Palace will be bad. I'm very, very aware that at some point Spurs are going to lose a game of football. I don't think it will be tonight. I don't think it will be tonight. But yeah, look, I don't think they've got enough goal power. Same as Fulham. Didn't think Fulham had enough goal power to hurt us. When your forwards are players like Mateta, I'm trying to think who else. You know, like Elise and Eze are out. You've got Mateta, Ayew. I think that if Spurs have aspirations to do anything, I said to do anything, not to win a league before anyone calls me out. I think if Spurs are going to have aspirations of doing anything and getting back in that Champions League, then these are games you've got to get over the line. You've got to get 3 points. I think that we're going to be tired. I think we're starting to see we pretty much had the same 11 play every game. And I think you can start to see that this style of football from Postecoglou, after 60 minutes, these players, their legs are starting to get tired and heavy, which is a reason why I don't think we're going to win a league. But I do think we should have enough tonight to beat Crystal Palace, yeah.
And how about yourself? In terms of this individual game, Husam, game number 10 now for Tottenham. It's the first time they've played 2 games in a week in a while. Do you think they'll cope with it? Away at what has been over the years a difficult place for a lot of teams to get 3 points at Selhurst Park?
Wait, are we counting Monday and Friday as 2 games in a week? That's not necessarily 2 games in a week because the game after that's, well, they're not in the Carabao Cup either. So the game after that's the next Premier League weekend. I wouldn't necessarily call it 2 games in a week. I mean, yeah, you know, Friday and Monday is the same week.
Let's not start with that. Hang on. Let's not start with Husam making up how weeks work. Sorry, this Monday and Friday are in the same week. That's 2 games in a week.
Now answer the question. Can I just speak, please? Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure, but don't come on here and start making
the game after that is the Premier League weekend after. And the game before that was on the Monday. I wouldn't count that as 2 games a week. 2 games a week is what, like Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Tuesday, stuff like that. Like if you've got Europa League football or a Carabao Cup or a Champions League game midweek, 2 Champions League games is hardly 2 Premier League games. Sorry, isn't really 2 games a week. I mean, technically, it's a separate game week. Like we're about to start a different game week right now. But anyway, I don't think, you know, here's the thing. I would love to say that Palace are going to get something. They could probably get something. You never know because nothing is impossible in the Premier League. I mean, they barely beat Sheffield and Luton, so it's a possibility. Nothing's impossible in the Prem. You know, we've seen Sheffield lose 8-0 to Newcastle, and then Man United and Man City struggled against them. So you just never know what's going to happen in the English. But that's the beauty of the Premier League anyway. You just don't know who's going to win on the day. Now, Savva is right. Palace going forward, that's their biggest problem. Like they just can't put the ball in the back of the net. That's actually their genuine biggest issue, Palace. But I will say one thing though, to credit Palace, is defensively they're not that bad. Like they can keep a clean sheet if need be. Like they could, if they hang in there, Crystal Palace, Selhurst Park, Friday night, if the atmosphere is going and stuff, they could definitely keep a clean sheet today. Their problem would be putting the ball in the back of the net. But look, Spurs have not earned my respect yet, to be honest with you. And I don't think this game will make me respect Spurs either. This is just Palace. This next run coming up for them, I think we'll speak after then. If we're already talking about fatigue and tiredness in October, when they've been knocked out of the round 2 of the Carabao Cup and aren't in Europe, then we're just taking the piss, to be honest with you.
Well, Sav, what do you make of that when he says he doesn't respect Tottenham yet? I'll hand it over to you. I'll hand it over to you because I know this is part of the reason you want to come on today, because I know it's kind of getting under your skin a little bit with the way Husam's talking about Tottenham.
Do you know what? I'm going to call it for what it is. Now, listen, I don't know Husam. I don't think me and you have ever spoken before, right? So this isn't anything personal. I don't know him. But Husam, for me, is a 2023 football fan. If ever I've seen football fans in 2023 who are, I call them the Rory Jennings of this world. Everything Husam says is for clicks, for likes, for clickbait. He hasn't actually got any structure or any sensibility to anything that he actually says. Anything that comes out of this guy's mouth is clickbait. In the last month.
So why you call me out then if I'm clickbait?
I'll explain to you. Calm down 1 second.
So I'm clickbait, yet you called me out. So what does that make you then?
Well, not clickbait, because I seem to remember that you were actually invited onto my show after Liverpool failed to beat Spurs, after you'd been telling the world for a whole entire week that you were going to batter us, after telling everyone that we're no good, that Postecoglou, it's been new manager bounce. And then all of a sudden, it was like you were asked to come on my show by Perchie, if you remember, and your response was, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. It was like, okay, come on and talk about the game.
There was nothing to say about that game.
No, I get it. No, that's cool, but that kind of is what YouTube's about, right? Like you have a sound again.
Yeah, even when I done my match reaction, I just had an hour rant about the referees. What am I supposed to say about that game? That didn't disprove anything I said, by the way.
Okay, cool. So listen, the reason why I find it really funny, Terry, is you and I talked about this on Wednesday. Do I need justification from other football fans that my team is doing well? No. Do I find it really, really childish that people have to put their watch-alongs as hate-alongs when we're not even their rivals? We're not their rivals.
My thumbnail guy did that. I didn't ask him for it.
Hang on. It's like, get a grip. We're not your rival. Hate-alongs. I keep seeing these images that he puts up of league tables where we're top, and there's an imposter in our ranks, and it's like, an imposter in your ranks. Now, listen, Terry, you know that I don't think Tottenham are winning a title. So this isn't about
me. So you agree with me then?
No. But there's a difference, Sam. You're a grown man talking about imposters. There's no imposters. You are where you are after 9 games. You're not an imposter. You are where you are after 9 games because, funnily enough, Man Utd couldn't beat us. Arsenal couldn't beat us. Liverpool couldn't beat us. Yeah? We've played Fulham.
Couldn't beat you and the 3 other people as well. It was 11v14, 9v14. So it will be difficult to beat you for anything.
So, Sam, I'll go back to you. Remember
what you know what I find funny about this? After you called me out on your last show,
Sam,
you actually agreed with everything I said about your own club.
Sam, let me finish.
I don't get your energy is like, I actually agree with what he's saying, but he's clickbait.
Let me finish.
You just said Spurs won't win the league. You just said
Let me finish.
So does that not make you
Sam, you have your right to reply in a minute. Let's have finished, and then we'll go to you. We'll go to you, brother. All right? Go on, Sam.
There is a difference between me sitting there and saying Spurs won't win a league and acknowledging that, Jesus, what a good job Postecoglou has done in the space of 3 or 4 months. There was a difference then between people like Husam that come out with things like, they're imposters. They've not impressed me. I'll call out any football fan that has watched us play football this season that is seeing us top of the league after nearly a quarter of the season gone. After tonight will be more than a quarter of the season gone. To sit there and say, they've not done anything to impress. Was it impress your words, or they've not done anything to impress me yet? Okay, let's call it for what it is, right? Let's call it for what it is. Grown-ups grown-up football fans will turn around and go, you know what? I don't think Spurs are going to win it, but what a good job they've done. What a good start to the season they've had. They've been better than we thought. No one's been able to beat them. And I hear all sorts of things, Terry. I hear, oh, look who they've played. Well, we heard that before the Man United game and we beat them. We heard that before the Liverpool game, we beat them. We heard that about going to Arsenal and getting battered at Arsenal, and we were the better team and should have beaten them. So even as a level-headed fan, I'm not one of these fans going to come on your show and go, we're winning a league. But as a level-headed fan, I've got fans sitting there, 2023 football fans sitting there with hate-alongs for some reason about our club because they failed to beat us. The hate since they failed to beat us has been unbelievably childish, right? Grown men.
No hate.
Oh my God! Do you know what? I've got a reel of things that people in the Tottenham community have sent me since that they knew me and you were coming on. Of look what he said on his Twitter. Look what he said. It's just childish.
No problem. I could have sent you the same tweets too. What do you think? I haven't deleted them. They're still there.
Listen, I've got them right, and
yeah,
all I can see. Listen,
this is due to the behavior of your own fan base that you yourself call out.
Sure. But you know what?
Have you not called out Spurs fans nearly every show you've done here?
Huh?
Have you not called out delusional Spurs fans nearly every single Straight Facts show?
But listen.
So when I call out Spurs fans that are delusional, I'm the problem.
It's called a caveat. I'm going to teach you a word you probably don't know. It's called a caveat.
No, I know. Don't worry.
Right?
I speak
so
four
if you know what caveat is,
I don't need you to teach me English. Don't worry.
Okay. So if you know
speak
what
four
caveat
languages.
is,
How many languages do you speak? Who's condescending now? See, we can both play the
one
same
language.
Yeah,
I need
don't
to
worry
speak
about
one language.
You can't teach me anything. Don't worry.
Do you know
I'm
what
a well-educated man. I'm a chemical engineer.
Okay. Sorry, is this a football chat or you want to start talking about what you do for a living?
Is this an English chat or a football chat?
You're a chemical engineer.
Right? Yeah, is this an English chat or a football chat? Why try and teach me English?
Right. I'm going to tell you why. Because one, I don't like the lies. And I'm going to explain to you why. When I come on here and I tell Spurs fans to calm down and say that they're delusional because we're not winning a league, right? What I say is, right? But yeah, we're doing really well. We have impressed. We have started well. And we do deserve credit. What you do is you don't do what I do. So don't say, oh, I agree with Savva. We say the same thing. No, we don't. What you do is go, oh my God, imposters. I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
If you're not impressed, why has no one been able to beat us if you're not impressed? What is it that you've not been impressed about, but no one can figure out how to beat us?
Okay. First of all, everything that you just said about your delusional fan base, I've said. Just because it annoys you, the way I say stuff, that's not my fault.
That's not
you
what
just
I said.
You just said Spurs won't win the league. I called you imposters. Tomato. Same shit. I think Liverpool. I think 1 second. I didn't interrupt you. 1 second. Let me land so you'll get my point.
You didn't interrupt.
So
me.
with Liverpool, City, and Arsenal, I think these three teams are in the title race. Those are the three title race contenders. Okay. So if I call Spurs an imposter, or you say Spurs aren't going to win the league, we're not really saying different stuff. I'm just saying
we're saying very different things. Yes,
no.
We are.
1 second.
We are.
One
yes,
second.
We are.
I'm just. Can I speak? I'm just saying it like an asshole. Okay, no problem. I'll make your life very easy. I'm saying it like an asshole, and you're just saying it like a Spurs fan. It's okay.
No,
I can say it like an asshole. I don't mind. I know I'm an asshole sometimes. It's okay. But when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur, the reason why they're an imposter is something I've already unpacked on Straight Facts and on the terrace multiple times. I've already spoken about Tottenham Hotspur's fixtures this season. We've already unpacked it. I've already looked at context, because you guys like to take the stuff that I've said out of context. Yeah, I've called Spurs an imposter, and what? Your own words as a Spurs fan is, we're not going to win the league. Your own words as a Spurs fan is, hear me out, your own words as a Spurs fan is, I call out my delusional fan base. Yeah, the same fan base that came on here after the Fulham game. I was watching the terrace. Big up that post-match video. Make sure to check it out if you haven't, where they were talking about winning the league. It had to take Kate, who's a long-time Spurs fan, to come up here and go like, yo, can we relax? Why are we talking about winning the league 9 games in? So when I talk about your delusional fan base, I'm just talking about the same people that you get upset at, that I'm angry at, because you're talking about me mentioning Spurs. They're the people in my mentions 24/7. Even if I tweet anything that has nothing to do with Spurs, they're in my mentions. or you want a replay. Let me give you a perfect example because you think this is a one-way street. Nothing in life is a one-way street.
No, stop telling me what I think. Stop telling me what I think.
Let me just give you final point, and then you can respond.
Sure, but stop
after
lying.
After the Konate incident this Saturday in the Merseyside derby, where the whole he should have been sent off thing happened, I had 76 notifications, all Spurs fans. So what you want me to just sit back, say nothing back? Spurs are imposters. They're not going to win the league. And what? Your fan base is delusional.
Not what I said. Do you know what I love about debating people like you, right? And people in the chat saying I'm rattled. I'm not rattled. I find this hilarious. I find it absolutely hilarious.
Clearly.
How you've got a Liverpool fan that honestly, people send it to me. They're like, who's this Husam guy? This Husam guy, this Husam guy. All your posts since you didn't beat Tottenham. Do you know the problem is, Husam? You ran your mouth so much about how bad Tottenham are, about how you were going to batter us. And you didn't, did you? You didn't batter us at all. And the problem is, since then...
Are you talking about the robbery?
Listen, Husam, we could talk about a robbery all we want. We all know that decision was wrong. But just because that decision was wrong doesn't mean you would have won the game. That's not how life works.
I believe it would have.
Yeah, Husam, you believe you would have doesn't make it factual. I'm going to teach you something here. When you say, I believe...
You can't teach me anything, Savva. You can't.
Right, Husam, when you say, I believe...
Don't worry about teaching me. Just tell me your opinion. I'll tell you my opinion.
Let me talk. When you say, I believe, that doesn't make it factual.
Yeah,
right?
I know that.
I believe I'm going to win the lottery tonight. Doesn't make it factual.
I hope you do.
Me too. You believed you would have beaten us if that goal had gone in. Probabilities would say that you would have gone 1-0 up and had a better chance. But probability also tells you that we still had 11 versus 10 for an hour after that goal would have gone in. No one knows what would have happened. And this is the problem.
You couldn't break us down with 9 men, though.
Pardon?
So you're talking about probabilities. Why don't you talk about facts from that game? You couldn't break us down with 9 men. It took a Matip own goal in the 95th minute. So more than likely, we would have won the game. My opinion is not based on nothing.
Hang on. You've moved the needle. You've moved the needle very quickly there. You've moved the needle very quickly. We're not at that stage yet. We're talking about if that goal that was disallowed, every Tottenham fan in the world will sit here and say that should have been given. We all know it should have been given.
Yeah,
the rules are awful.
Yeah.
VAR is ridiculous. And so are the number of Liverpool fans coming out going, Spurs are cheats, like we had something to do with the decision, right? That goal should have been given. You should have been 1-0 up. Absolutely, you were robbed. The referee's shocking.
We agree again.
Is it not equally true that when there's 60 minutes left against 10 men, the probabilities show that we probably still would have come back in the game? Now, before you say about having 9 men...
The answer is no, based on factual evidence. No, based on the game itself, Savva.
You can't have factual evidence that didn't happen.
The evidence is the game itself. The evidence says, even against 9 men Liverpool, it took a 94th minute Matip own goal for you to win the game.
Sam, have you ever played football?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, to what level have you played?
High school level.
Okay, have you ever coached football?
No, I've never coached football.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you something now, Sam. This is what I love about fans that feel.
This is another you're teaching me moment.
Do you know what?
Well, I've got my pen and paper here if you want to take notes.
You know, the problem is, too many people, when they say, I believe, I think this would have happened. This would have happened.
Am I not here to say my opinions?
Oh my gosh. Let me finish. Too many people that say, I believe. Cool.
Yeah.
What people believe isn't always true, right? If anyone's ever coached, they will tell you, find any qualified coach. They will tell you one of the hardest things in football to do is to break down 9 or 10 men when that team goes into a low block, and don't have any interest in attacking. So when after that game, when people were going, couldn't even do it with 9 men. Well, no, you had 9 men in front of the goal. That makes it very, very difficult, and it becomes a game of patience. We eventually broke it down. But there's this belief from people that have never coached or played the game that don't get it. They think, oh, you've gone down to 9 men. We should score 4 or 5 now. That's not how it
We would have
works.
scored 4 or 5 if you were down to 9 men.
No, you wouldn't have, because we would have gone into
I
a
think we
low
would have.
block. Look, again, Husam, you see,
We're used to playing against low blocks. This is just my weekly life.
I think everything. Have you noticed?
Yeah, I'm giving you
you
stuff
say
that's
is
happened in the game. I'm giving you stuff that's happened in the game. And you're telling me it's more difficult to break down. First of all, everything you just said is I think. You get me?
No, it's not.
Everything you just said is I think.
Tell me one thing I said I think.
So, like, don't act like I'm saying what I think and what you're saying is gospel. You're not saying gospel. You're saying I think, and I'm saying I think.
When did I say I think?
My I think versus your I think. One second.
When did I say it?
If you're telling me it's more difficult to break down 10 men, I agree.
That's
9 men.
That's
9 men is completely different. 9
men's harder.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Any serious football club at home.
Ask
Can I just speak? Any serious football club
No,
at home,
because you're like...
If this game was at Anfield and you went down to 9 men, we win 4-1. Simple as. If this game was at Anfield and you went down to 9 men, the game ends 4-1. Now, if you want me to go based on the fact, you want me to explain my opinion, because it's my opinion, as you said. My opinion is Liverpool won the game. My opinion is based on when it was 11. 1 second, let me tell you my opinion so you can rebuttal it. My opinion is when it was 11v11, we had 6 shots, you had 1. We nullified Madison, we nullified your whole team. You had what we call, as football fans, you know, despite me not being a UEFA licensed coach, what we call empty possession, in which Spurs were passing the ball right and left 500 times without being effective with it. Liverpool got the ball in multiple counter-attacks, were a lot more effective. 6 shots compared to 1. Curtis Jones gets sent off. In my opinion, it's not a red, but it's okay if that's given as a red. I'm not going to moan over it. So the red's given. Now, after that game, even with 10v11, Liverpool still managed to score. And Liverpool still had the most dangerous chance of the game towards the end of halftime, where Salah played it into Diaz. Diaz had a tap-in and he missed it.
Disputing that.
So even with 10v11, that happened. Then a perfectly onside goal was ruled off. And on top of that, the Premier League referee, the independent panel, comes out and says Diogo Jota shouldn't have been sent off. So a goal that I should have scored didn't happen. And I went from 10 to 9 because Premier League referees are incompetent and can't do their job properly. Okay, so I'm basing it on evidence from that game. And the goal that you scored at the end of the game, was a Matip own goal. Like, once again, that game did not disprove the fact that I would have beaten Spurs. You know, I
doesn't prove you would have beaten Spurs.
Based on that game, based on what we saw in that game, we would have won the game. Had it been 10v11, even we would have won the game.
Okay, but do you know the difference is? Hang on. Sorry. I live in a world of reality where we can't just say, I think this would have happened. No one. Have you noticed? You just turned around and said, you think. I've not said I think once. I'm saying to you, none of us know. I came on this show the very week after and said, you know, the difficulty with these situations is no one knows. The problem, like I hear all the time, if so-and-so had taken their chance, this would have happened. If that red card had been given, if this goal had been allowed, sure, but no one actually knows. Liverpool were my tip to finish second. I rate Liverpool highly as a very good football team. I've made that very clear to people, right? But the thing is, what you're trying to tell me, I get it's your opinion. And I know that the kids in the chat love it. They get that it's your opinion, but your opinion can't be proved.
We're here to discuss opinions.
Pardon?
We're here to discuss opinions. This is football content creation.
But the difference is, Sam, at the end of the day, no one knows what would have happened. If that goal had gone in, Spurs this season have been better when we've come from behind. No one knows. That goal could have gone in, come out second half. Postecoglou, we did this against Arsenal. Poor first half, second half, we were brilliant. And we should have beaten them. We could have done the same thing against you. No one knows. We could have been awful. No one knows. But all I'm going to say is, I've said this for years, for anyone that will listen. All these people that say things like, oh, we got down to 9, you should have battered us. Try playing against 9 men. Try playing against 9 men when they put every single person behind the ball. Liverpool had 3 centre halves. You had 4 midfielders sitting in front. 3 midfielders sitting in front of 3 centre halves and two fullbacks. It is very difficult to break down the caliber of Liverpool when that happens.
It certainly is. I want to go to some of these super chats here. Really good points made by both. The comments seem split. Some are backing Sav, some are backing Sam, and that's what we like to see. This here says Spurs need to win this badly. Can't lose to Crystal Palace is what Chris, the American Magpie, says. BIG says, Terry, please run back when Spurs fall off. They're going to come sixth is what he's alluding to. Kate here, who's on the show with us tonight after the game, says, so Sam is getting cooked. He'll want a replay soon. On this.
I'll never ask for a replay. Don't worry.
Getting upset being called imposters. Who's the child is what Pure 10 says.
He's upset at the terminology. He says Spurs won't win the league. I call them imposter. He's upset. Okay, I just said
Hassan, you're doing that thing again. Hassan, you're doing that thing again.
So I just delivered it like an asshole, and he said it regularly, and he's mad. Okay,
Hassan,
I'm an asshole. No problem.
These words are funny.
I'm an asshole. It's okay.
Upset, mad. These are the words that you come out with, Hassan, because your football knowledge is some of the worst I've ever seen on YouTube.
I have my pen and paper for the lesson.
I watched your show with Staffy and Egal on, was it Monday night?
Anything you want to educate me on, I'm going to write it down.
And it was absolutely, it was so funny that even after Spurs had won, how much you had to try and discredit the win. It was brilliant to watch. Everyone's saying I'm rattled. Is it not that Liverpool are annoyed that Spurs are doing better than them? Is that not what you're annoyed about right now?
I'm not.
Is that not what you're annoyed about?
I'm not annoyed at Spurs. I'm just talking about Spurs in my opinion, because I'm just here to give my opinion.
You said Fulham.
And when I unpack their season so far, I don't think they've been as impressive as people make out. If I read you an article from the Telegraph, it's embarrassing what they're doing to Tottenham Hotspur. It's embarrassing what they're talking about.
As I said, Sam, I watched your show Monday night. I watched your analysis of the Spurs-Fulham game. It was hilarious.
Yes.
Just how wrong you were.
So Fulham didn't have chances?
As many
Fulham couldn't have scored. Fulham couldn't have scored? Factually speaking, okay, let's deal with facts. You don't want opinions. Let's deal with facts. Was it factually not two Bassi mistakes that you scored from? Factually. What do you mean? Why are you laughing? It's the truth.
Because I tell you what's hilarious.
Did Bassi not make two errors leading to a goal, factually speaking?
The excuses. No one can just say.
Fulham got into dangerous
do you know what? Spurs have done well. Spurs have done well. You can't say it, can you?
They haven't impressed me by beating Fulham, who couldn't do anything in front of goal and gifted you 2 goals. They had a left back playing right centre back, who literally cost them the game.
Look, this is what I love. So have we not impressed you in any game this season?
I think you've done well.
This grown child is. This is brilliant.
I'm just thinking.
This is brilliant.
I think you've done well in the North London derby, because I expected you to get better that day. So you done well there.
So we got record points done well for a new manager by playing well in one game.
I'm literally about to name them. You done well against. I think you done well against Man United as well, but even Man United were crap on that day. I think you've been.
You see what I mean?
You've been lucky with the start of the season that you've had. You've been lucky with the start of the season. I'm just trying to find this Telegraph article that will just literally explain.
I don't care about the Telegraph. You as a football fan can't just say. Let's be fair. The Fulham game the other night, right? I saw what you said, right? The Fulham game is funny. You said Fulham had chances. Yeah, nowhere near as many as Tottenham Hotspur. We should have been 4-0 up by 15 minutes. So what about if we had taken our chances? Yeah, Calvin Bassey made 2 mistakes. You know why Calvin Bassey made mistakes? Because this is where, again, you don't understand it. Because we press. Because
he passed it to 2 Spurs players. That's literally what happened.
Sam, watch again.
I did. I watched the whole game.
Watch the press. Watch the press Spurs.
Yeah, I know. I'm an expert on pressing. I'm a Liverpool fan. I know what pressing is.
We made them make mistakes because we press. We don't give them time on the ball. It's what we did to Arsenal, right? Pressing. So all of this, Fulham could have scored. So what? We could have scored 10.
Yeah, and that's my analysis of the game. I'm analyzing that game that way.
That's how pathetic it
is. My analysis was Fulham made 2 mistakes. Bassey made 2 individual mistakes that led to goals. You capitalized and you scored because you got Son up front. Fulham don't have Son, they don't have Mitrovic, they don't have clinical players. They got into dangerous positions multiple times, which they did specifically second half, but they just couldn't take advantage because they kept making wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong
What
decision.
about us?
Their starters and their bench players kept
What about
making wrong
us?
decisions. Now, what I was talking about earlier on, this is what I was talking about earlier on. This is the Telegraph headline.
No, answer. What about
One
us?
second. This is all related.
No. I'm asking you a
This is
question.
the Telegraph headline. Listen to this, Terry. Listen to this.
I don't. Listen,
Never
I'm
before
asking
in
you a
the Premier
question.
League. One second. Never before in the Premier League has a manager had such a rapidly transformative
This is
effect
not what we're
on
talking
a squad,
about.
on a
This is
club,
not what
on
we're
a
talking
fan
about.
base. Thank you. And then the title is Tottenham are no longer Spursy under Postecoglou.
Right.
This Spurs glazing by the media is actually
No. Hang on. Can you bring up that comment again?
It's even worse than the delusional Spurs fans that Savva himself called out.
I love people like Sam.
Just last season, one second, let me land. Just last season, Eddie Howe, before a penny was spent on that team, took Newcastle from relegation to top 4 in the same exact season. I'm not even going to talk about Ranieri winning the league in his first season. I'm not even going to talk about Conte for Chelsea winning the league in his first season.
Hang on. We were talking about
I'm not going to say any of that stuff. This Spurs glazing by the media is absolutely disgusting. This month,
mate. What are we doing? We're having one subject or two.
This month, one second, let me speak. This month, Mo Salah
we were in a conversation.
scored 15 goals, and somehow Son would win Player of the Month.
Sam,
I
get that.
The 4 bottom teams.
Sam,
we were in a conversation.
That's Spurs.
Sam, we can move on to that. Can you answer Sav's question about what about the additional chances that Spurs had against Fulham? Why are you not mentioning them in terms of
chances against Fulham? Congratulations. You got the fucking cookie? Like what? Okay, congrats.
Okay, so Terry,
Fulham crap. Chelsea beat them.
You know when I said, right, Terry, you know when I said this is why it's childish, right? This is what I mean. If Spurs win, it's because someone else made a mistake. If Spurs create a lot of chances, it's because who we're playing is crap. Spurs created a lot of chances against Arsenal. Are Arsenal crap?
Did I not just give you credit for the Arsenal game?
Huh?
Did I not just give you credit for the Arsenal game? I literally just gave you credit.
Husam, what makes me laugh is we score and we create chances. It's because the other team are crap, right?
Never said that.
If we don't, we're not very good, right?
Factually speaking, was it not 2 Bassi mistakes? It was.
Because we pressed Bassi. That's our tactic.
And Bassi gave you the ball, literally.
Oh my! So if we were
oh my God, he's left back playing right now.
Let me talk. No, you've talked for. Let me talk.
Guys,
this is ridiculous, Terry.
Sav, you've made. Listen, this is what's happening here. You've made your point. No, but this is the thing. You've made your point. The viewers get it. I get it. Sam's answering it in his way. If we keep on like this, it's just going to keep going around in this circle. It becomes circular.
Sure, but this makes my point, Terry. Terry, no, this makes my point. As I said to you, right? This is what I said. Sam is a 2023 football fan. Rather than being a grown-up and saying, do you know what? Spurs have been good. Spurs have done well. Every single thing he's saying is a caveat. Let's be fair. We beat Fulham without getting out of first gear, right? Spurs fans are sitting there going, we didn't even play well and we beat Fulham comfortably. We did. We beat Fulham comfortably and we didn't even play well. I think most Spurs fans will admit that, right? But then there's always an excuse as to why. When Spurs win, there's always an excuse. There's always an excuse.
Not cheated.
Huh?
Not always. Not always. You've played well.
Sam, every game I'm mentioning, you're coming up with something. So far, we've played 9 games. No one.
Yes.
No one.
You played well, Arsenal. You played well, Man United. Who's the other team? Bournemouth, you played really well. Burnley, you played really well.
Stop. You're doing it again. You're doing it again. You're talking about something that I'm not talking about, right?
You're talking about every time you win, there's something.
No, stay on topic.
I am on topic. I named the 4 games where you played really well.
That's not what I was talking about, Sam. Right?
Yes.
Sid, you don't go 9 games unbeaten, top of the league with 23 points, yes, and be lucky in every single game. There have been lucky moments, right? There have been lucky moments.
Yes.
I've watched Man City be lucky this year. I've watched Liverpool be lucky this year. I've watched Arsenal be lucky. Everyone's lucky.
I wish Man United were lucky.
Mistakes, You scored because of mistakes. You could go back and watch every game and go, yeah, there were mistakes. You could watch every game and go, oh, poor defending. But for some reason, you seem incapable of just saying, you know what? Spurs are so much better than I thought. And you know what you do? You know what you
they are better than I thought because I had no expectations.
Do you know what you do?
I predicted Spurs finish 9th, so obviously they're going to be better.
Right. Okay. But do you know what you do? As I said, it's the Rory Jennings school of opinions, right? I got an opinion dreadfully, dreadfully, dreadfully wrong. So instead of saying, I haven't
gotten anything wrong.
Hang on, let me talk.
In the second you haven't rebutted the word I've said.
Let me talk.
Half an hour in, 0 rebuttals.
Let me talk.
Yeah, you could talk, brother.
Sam, make this fun because I want to get back to some super chats in a minute on this, but just interest of time.
I can't get a sentence out without him going.
Sam, let him finish his sentence, please, mate. Please, right? For me, thank you.
It is the Rory Jennings school of opinions, right? Look at what Rory Jennings is doing right now. He got his Haaland opinion so wrong, but instead of going, you know what, I'm wrong. He has doubled down on it to the point where it's embarrassing. And I saw, Terry, you even did a video on how embarrassing it was either today or yesterday. Right? This is what's happening with Husam. Spurs are going to finish 9th. Because now we're top of the league, could go 5 points clear. Forget whether we're going to win a title or not, because I don't think we will. But instead of just saying, you know what, wow, I got that wrong, he doubles down on it. Oh, you're lucky. Oh, it's mistakes. Oh, you've not impressed me. Oh, you've not played well. And that's why it's not an opinion. It's childish.
Guys, I'm going to go to super chats. Yeah, do you know what? I feel like you have.
Barry, I know you want to go to the super chats, but I have to respond to his point. First of all,
make your response to them again, super chats, whatever you say. That's what we'll do. Can I just clarify one thing as well? Yes, I did make a video about Rory Jennings' opinions. I will say this for context. I love Rory Jennings' opinions. They make me laugh. I think they're amazing. So big up, Rory. Over to you, Husam.
Big up, Rory. Anyway, I haven't doubled down. I predicted Spurs will finish 9th before the season started. That's why I'm saying I had no expectation of Spurs to begin with. Also, I haven't discredited Spurs in every single game. I just said they played well against Burnley, against Man United, against Arsenal, and against Bournemouth. Those 4 games specifically, they've played well. Now, if I'm going to unpack the 9 games and I'm going to address this season contextually for Tottenham Hotspur, they've played the bottom 4 teams. They robbed Liverpool. They done really well away at the Emirates, and they beat Manchester United.
We robbed Liverpool.
And they drew the first game of the season against Brentford. Now, when it comes to the start, they've started really well. Now, the outcome, which I've seen before from Spurs, is the outcome, I don't expect them to be there in May because they're 1 injury away from crisis. Now, I don't wish injury on anyone. I wish all Spurs players to be fit till the end of the season. And I wish all injured players a speedy recovery. I'm not that type of guy. So all I'm saying is with Tottenham Hotspur, based on what they've done so far this season, I haven't been that impressed with what's happened because of the context, which we've already contextualized. Beat Sheffield in the last second. Luton Town, they struggled against Luton Town. Fulham could have scored against them. Liverpool was a robbery. They drew against Brentford at home, and they played the bottom 4 teams. So all I'm saying is, let's see. I mean, we're already a Monday, Friday game, and we're already talking about fatigue. So let's see what happens now come December time.
Who have you beaten?
But I've already said, come May time, if Tottenham Hotspur even challenge for the title, I will dye my hair white and I will sing the Spurs song. That's how sure I am with it. So once again, your problem, I actually understand what your problem with me is. Your problem is my delivery, how I say stuff, not what I actually say. Because I say it with a little bit like essentially you saying Spurs won't win the league and Husam calling Spurs an imposter. In essence, it's the same idea that Spurs won't win the league. That's basically the same thing.
That's not what bothers me. Yeah. That's not what bothers me. That's not what bothers me, Sam. I want to know who you've beaten.
Guys, we'll come back to this in a minute because I need to respect the viewers on here. I'm going to respect the viewers in their super chat. So this here says, you needed Liverpool to be down to 9 men, an own goal, and the most colossal cock-ups in VAR history to win, is what Lauren says here. Giovanni says, Savva, please lose the condescending tone, just make your point, is what Giovanni says. Nick here says, I will never understand why one supporter's opinion is dragged down by their fellow supporters fan base. These are twats. These twats are in every single football club. I enjoy them. They help make content for me. So keep them bad opinions.
And Nick, by the way, Savva calls them out and I call them out too. So I'm not even calling the
very
likes
different.
of Savva
Hang
out.
on, no, not true.
I'm calling the own delusional people out. The same people he calls out.
Doing that. Got to stop doing that. Stop assuming that what I do and what you do are the same thing, Husam. Stop that. That's lies. Stop
I've
that.
already said we do it in different ways.
No. Stop. No, this is not the issue at all. You're very. I like it. You're a politician. That's not the issue. Isn't it what you said?
One of you both drinking martinis. One of you stirs it. One of you shakes it. That's what's going on here. Right. Asia here says there's no logic in saying Liverpool are in a title race and Spurs are not when they've been more convincing with harder fixtures so far. In my opinion, neither team are. What Romy says here. John says, I made a point that our defence and deep line midfielders were not ready for Onana. We've almost reverted back to last season. Also, where on earth is Mount? We'll come back to the Man United stuff later and we'll chat about that. Standard, no condescending Spurs fan. That's from Mr. Tybox, who is a gooner, by the way. To put that into context, he is a gooner.
Done.
I have my pen and paper ready. Don't worry, Tybox.
Not sure if there's an English word for this. Direct translation from Norwegian is ruling techniques from Savva now trying to belittle Husam.
That's how I win debate.
I'll belittle people that I will belittle people that are silly.
You can't belittle me. I'm 6'1".
I mean I think that comment alone sums up how stupid it is, right? That comment alone sums up.
Or you could call it a joke in other languages.
This is Sam. You're doing it again, is what Hennessy says.
Third time.
Chicharito offside goal versus Chelsea 2011. Oh, that was a great offside goal against 9 men. It was difficult when it went down to 9 men.
Fergie corruption right there.
I love it. We literally have one of the best teams in the league right now, and this guy thinks we couldn't have won. You are blaming Spurs for the referee's decisions.
For the 900th time, I'm not blaming Spurs. I'm just simply talking about the context.
Savva, make sure you are here in March to defend Spurs' nervous breakdown. Come on, Hassan, cook him, is what Lee says.
Can I just say, the problem with people like Lee is not, listen, I don't think Spurs are going to win the league. This isn't me sitting here defending Spurs winning titles. But when a team's done well,
this guy.
When a team's done well, it's okay to say they've done well. There's a difference between being a child about it and thinking your team's going to win the league.
So your problem is the delivery, basically. Okay.
No, stop telling what I've told you what my problem is. Stop telling me what my problem is. My problem is you go too far with it. You go so far.
Your problem is my delivery.
I hate along.
I didn't do that. My thumbnails guy done that.
That's you. What your thumbnail does
my
is on you.
Guy's an Arsenal fan. He took it personally.
That's on you.
What brother, I can't even use Microsoft Paint.
I'm going to do more of these. I'm enjoying this, but I'm going to do more of these. I've got to respect the viewers here. Debbie says, Husam remembers they never sing that. Champions of Europe, they'll never sing that. Stop talking about the refs. City and Barcelona fan here. What Debbie says. Thank you, Debbie. As always, I appreciate your super chats. Husam's obvious bitterness after Spurs match has marred his obvious bitterness after Liverpool lost out on Caicedo. I get Sav completely. Liverpool have the second most amount of awarded penalties this season. Spurs have 0. This guy takes horror, pure jealousy. It's sad and weird. It's what Jim says here.
The referees except for one game.
This is Savva is a crybaby. We'll beat you in 2 weeks, Monday. That's from a Chelsea fan, Dyke. It says there.
No,
Mr. How you doing? Perchy here.
I don't know what Chelsea have got to do with this.
I hope Perchy's good. He says, didn't Liverpool need a penalty to unlock Everton? You can't have it both ways, Sam. Let's be fair. When we debate, give Spurs credit when it's due, is what Perchy says.
He also to unlock Everton. We unlocked them before the penalty.
Can I ask a question? Just quickly. Why didn't you score 4 or 5 past Everton when they had 10 men?
We weren't clinical enough. But we created so many chances. It wasn't the same. Completely.
I watched your game. You didn't.
We had 26 shots.
So many chances.
80% 26 shots. We literally had 26 shots.
Funny. What happened when Everton went down to 10 men?
That's a shot every 2 minutes.
Didn't they stick 10 men behind the ball?
Yeah, and we still scored twice.
Right. Are Everton's defence as good as Liverpool's?
No, they're worse.
I'll just leave that hanging there.
Yeah, well,
There we
that
go.
doesn't disprove anything we've said, but okay.
Perchy also says here, Sam says, who have we beaten? Yet Liverpool have played Chelsea and Brighton and drew both, only beaten Aston Villa so far this season.
Yeah, we haven't played Luton, Sheffield, and these teams yet. You know, so.
Tottenham not in second gear versus Fulham. Husam owns you in first gear, is what Luca John says, who's obviously an Arsenal fan. Husam has got 3 features. He's 28, looks 40 and acts like he's 5.
Chat, there's no, you know what? There's no need.
Nice,
You know what?
that's
There's no
actually very
need for
funny.
that.
That's actually very funny.
Yeah, I don't like
let
that.
me
That's
talk.
attacking someone personally, man.
Savva, I just think it's a bit of banter, but I get ya. Savva, let me talk, but butts in when Husam does. Clown.
Yeah, because he's changing the subject. You've got to keep it on the subject.
No.
Liverpool were lucky. Pickford made mistakes. He couldn't save the ball. No credit to Liverpool. All Everton's fault. Husam's logic. Let me
Anyone
talk.
who watched that
KDB
game and thinks Liverpool were
Savva
lucky
is rattled, is what Tony Bloom says. This year, States saying for this, it says, gentlemen, back to your corners. Terry is the ref in boxing, trying to break up the fighters. Yeah, I'm the ref, but I've been eating my carrots and my chocolate buttons through this. It's been fun, you know. What a mixture as well, carrots and chocolate buttons. I've never done it before, but it's not a bad taste. That delusional Spurs fan saying it's hard to break down 9 or 10 men, but at the same time, he was laughing at Arsenal drawing against 10 men. Fulham, lol.
Can I just ask, sorry, when was I laughing at Arsenal not being able to beat Fulham? Is this on a stream or something? Is that just made up? Are you just assuming because I'm a Spurs fan that I sit and laugh at every result that happens? Interesting.
The hate along thing was started by Expressions. Oh, was it? Expressions.
Yeah, that wasn't me. That was just my thumbnails guy. I'm not responsible.
It is what it is.
I can't even use Microsoft Paint, man. He does my thumbnails.
Listen, people, make sure like buttons are being smashed. Over 2,000 people watching. Please give the like button a smash now. Please share this on your social media platforms as well. Put it in your group chats. Invite people along to come and watch. Obviously, boys, we might come back on to some more super chats later. I
want to address one point, Terry. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
That sample up. Could you bring up that link again when you said what the Telegraph said?
Okay, the media. Yeah, we can do that.
Right. Now, and there was, right, can I just say something? The left-hand side, so the box in white, yeah, is 100% correct. The box on the right-hand side is to be confirmed. Right? Now, let me explain why. If you take that off, I'll tell you why, right? This is the, see, you can laugh, but...
In fairness, Samuel, on this one, Sav is bang on, because the first statement, no one's ever done this from day one in the Prem, ever.
That's cap.
But second point, it's not cap. No one's ever had 23 points after 9 games, ever.
But you're talking about it as a points tally. That's not how you transform a team simply by points tally.
Okay, but let me explain why. Hang on. Before let me explain, right? Let me explain. Right, you can't win a trophy after 9 games. I mean, like, if we're going to be serious,
yeah, I know that. I know that. I never said that.
Don't just point at trophies to try and make your point.
Yeah, because I already gave the examples: Conte and Ranieri.
So
league champions in their first season.
Right. So let me explain. Right. The problem that we've got here, Terry, right, is we're not talking about trophies, because after 9 games, that statement is talking about where Postecoglou has taken Spurs from and to in 9 games and in 1 transfer window. Now, the problem is when you get a lot of fans who don't understand other clubs and they just talk badly about them because they don't bother to go and do their research and their homework. Look at the shambles, right? And if anyone disagrees with this, then they're crazy. Look at the shambles Tottenham were in when Postecoglou picked us up, right? Does anyone disagree with that?
Yeah, I do.
You disagree? You disagree with that?
If we're using shambles as a logic, then Eddie Howe takes that.
No. But that's not right.
Please.
Stop, Husam, stop. No one's talking about Eddie Howe. Just answer the question, yes or no. Were Spurs a shambles when he picked us up?
I wouldn't say they were a shambles, but they weren't in the best place.
Okay, so okay.
Shambles
Terry,
is like Everton.
No, hang on.
Shambles.
It's fine. So Terry, now let me tell you, this is why I can't have this debate. I've got a fan telling me right, that Spurs weren't an utter shambolic mess when he picked us up. The back half of last year, the second half of the season, Spurs were in crisis, right? We were a mess. We couldn't defend. We couldn't attack. We had no way of playing football. We stuck 11 men behind the ball and were awful at it. We had 3 different managers. We lost Harry Kane in the summer, right? Everyone's saying, oh my God, what a mess Spurs are. They are going to be bottom half. Sam even predicted 9th, right?
I did.
This manager's come in, picked us up, stole arguably our best player for the last 30 years, arguably, right? Brought in young players like Vicario from a goalkeeper's perspective, Van der Ven, right? He's brought in a couple of young players, brought back a Dogi who's 20, put in Papasar in the starting 11 who's 20, transformed us into a team that are good to watch, right? That are top of so many of these stats that people love talking about with the pressing stats and the passing stats and the shot stats, all these things. We're top of the league after 9 games, 23 points, which is the best ever start for a new manager. Mm-hmm. And then I've got this guy to your right or left, depending on which way you're sitting or looking at it, saying...
See why the comments are cooking you?
Pardon?
See why the comments are cooking you? My name's not this guy. My name's Husam, brother.
Okay, that's weird.
Carry on.
Well, I was trying to carry on until you interrupted, right?
Yeah, don't call me this guy.
Oh my God, that's just how I talk. That's what I say. Are we going to get offended by that now?
No. I'm not offended.
Then why bring it up? Why stop me mid-flow to bring that nonsense up?
Go on.
This is so weird, Tony, man. This is weird, right? So we're an utter shambolic mess. No, because he's not interested in debate. He's just interested in winding up. I've got people messaging me on WhatsApp going, get off there. This guy is not even interested in a football debate because what he's saying.
I've got people messaging me on WhatsApp. Right. Why is he so rattled? I don't care what people message me. I'm addressing you.
It's not about being rattled, Sam.
Yeah, people are messaging me that. So
okay,
why bringing up WhatsApp messages? Who gives a fuck what other people say?
How on earth can anyone sit there and say that statement isn't true from what he's picked up to where we are now in that 9 games? I'm talking after 9 games, not after a season. Can't win anything after 9 games. We are so night and day different to what he picked up. It is unbelievable. And then you've got fans like Sam sitting there going, oh, they weren't that much of a shambolic mess. Oh, you know, this from the Telegraph is wrong. What bit of it is wrong?
Okay, I'll tell you which bit is wrong. Terry, can you put it up on the screen one more time, please?
Okay, bro. And then now, after this point, we are going to move on to the Manchester derby and some other bits and pieces, boys. All right, but yeah, go on.
So you see this. First of all, the right-hand side is 100% wrong because Spurs can only stop being Spurs if they win a trophy. You cannot say Spurs are no longer Spurs when we're 9 games in. Now, the left-hand side, the reason why it's wrong is we've seen Premier League managers before come in and transform clubs. Leicester were one of the favourites to get relegated. They ended up winning the English Premier League. No one had them to win that. Same thing with Antonio Conte and Chelsea. And if we don't want to talk about winning, if we just want to talk about managers transforming clubs, then I can give you a prime example of a manager we saw beat PSG last week. 2 weeks ago, 5-1 with Newcastle, with 6 of the players pre a cent was spent start in that team. They beat PSG 5-1 at St. James's Park. Sure. He took Newcastle from relegation contenders to top 4. Now, if we're talking about shambles,
in 9 games.
I don't think, one second, if I were talking about shambles, I don't think anything is more shambolic than almost being relegated, because that was Newcastle.
Can I just jump in for a minute here, boys, because we're just in the interest of time. What I'm going to say to this is contextually, that sentence is taken out of an article that's talking about a manager's first 9 games ever in the Premier League. I get your point about what Eddie Howe's done at Newcastle, but Eddie Howe had how many 100-odd Premier League games prior to managing Newcastle? So I think that's more what the article is alluding to. As I say,
he's been a manager 30 years.
No, but again, they're talking again, Sam. The article, if you read it, speaks about a manager's first 9 games in the Premier League. No one's ever done this, and it is a fact. However, I completely agree with you, Sam, on the Spurs aren't Spursy anymore, which is a ridiculous statement after 9 games. So I think there's a happy medium there. Boys,
hang on, no, but Terry, that's not true. Hang on, this is absolutely ridiculous, right? Sorry, I'm calling this out. This is ridiculous. First of all, there's no happy medium. No,
there's a happy medium between you and him. No, hang on, there's a happy medium because I'm saying I disagree with half of what he's saying, and I agree with the other half. I call that a happy medium.
Sure, but the thing is, when we're asked to debate a point, that point isn't debating what somebody's done in 2 years or in 18 months or over the entirety of a season. This is why it doesn't make sense. I think what Eddie Howe has done at Newcastle is nothing short of phenomenal. Last year, for me, Eddie Howe should have been the Premier League Manager of the Year. What he did was sensational. But again, this is where if we can have a debate, this is what Husam keeps doing, is this is the debate. I'm going to move the goalposts over here. That is clearly written after 9 games of a season. From where we were to what we've done in 9 games, have you ever seen a manager pick a team up that were as shambolic as Tottenham?
Do you agree that 9 games shouldn't be a measuring stick to begin with?
No, but that's not what. Oh my goodness!
But my problem ain't even you. My problem is the media.
I didn't say it was, but this is.
Why are the media making these statements 9 games in to begin with?
But this is the thing about this being a debate. This is the thing, Sav, and this
you're making this about you.
Guys,
I'm not even saying I have a problem with Savva. I'm saying I have a problem with the media.
Gentlemen, this is the thing, right? I get what you're saying, Sav. You're basically saying, you're saying no one's done this after 9 games, which is factually true. Hassan's point is this shouldn't even be a conversation after 9 games. It should be a longer body of work. So I don't think there's anything to. I mean, it's politely to both of you. There is nothing to debate in that because you're both for me.
Terry, but no. But this
from a different point of view.
That wasn't. So that's not how Husam started this. He said this wasn't true. This statement wasn't true. I'm asking the question.
Stick by it.
So that statement for a manager's first 9 games at the beginning of a season with a club is not true.
I just said I think Eddie Howe was more impressive.
But in his first 9 games, he wasn't. That is that statement.
No, I think he was because he took Newcastle to safety.
Sorry, boys, we're not going to keep going around.
9 games he didn't.
Gentlemen, we're not, listen, Sav, this is. We're going to move on to the next talking points. There's some super chats to go to.
Sure, I'm just confused. If we're going to debate, let's stick to mental.
But there's nothing else to debate on this.
No, I hear you. But like Sam literally reads something and goes, "Oh, but in 18 months, like, yeah, but no one's talking about 18."
Okay, but Sav, like
I didn't talk about.
I normally say this stuff offline. Then what you do from your point of view, and this is me speaking just neutrally here, then you let the audience take care of it. Like sometimes,
because
otherwise you just spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on one talking point because you're never going to get to a consensus where Sam goes, "I agree with you," or "I'm wrong."
No, I agree. I don't need him to agree with me. I'm just so confused. Like Husam is hyperbolic. He'll find a statement and he'll change it from what it actually is to boom, and that's not what it was. Like this is why I mean. 2023 football fans can't see what's right in front of them, or they just can't.
If you heard my argument to begin with, you'll see that I'm calling out the media. I'm not calling you out.
I'm sure the statement is correct.
Boys, I totally understand. Boys, I'm moving this on just because there's other subjects we've got to get through, and I am personally running out of time. So, a lot of people, gentlemen, are claiming that Manchester United are going to be absolutely cooked this weekend by Man City. What do you think, Husam, about the Manchester derby? Do you see United getting an absolute drumming, a cooking, a beating by their blue rivals?
I mean, because I'm not a 2023 fan and I can look beyond my club and beyond my hatred for Manchester United, I can see that there are cracks in Manchester City's armor, as they say. I don't think they're as strong as they used to be, in my opinion. I saw your post-match video as well after the young boys game. This Hamza guy is so shameless, honestly. If I'm shameless, then he's next level shamelessness. I think, look, in derbies, in games like this, form goes out the window. I mean, speaking of Spurs, 99% of people thought that they would lose against Arsenal at the Emirates, and they managed to get something. So form isn't necessarily the be-all and end-all when it comes to these games. Liverpool have been really good. Sometimes we go to Goodison, even when Everton are crap, and they managed to pull something off. Even last season when Liverpool were in really bad form and Man United came to Anfield, I mean, that result shocked the world. So I think with Man United, what happened against Copenhagen will only be beneficiary to them. What I mean by that is, what they done in that game, the way that they won it. Had Man United beaten Copenhagen 3-0, 4-0, it would have done less momentum for them than how that game ended. They saved the penalty in the 90th minute. They stuck through. They didn't concede a goal. They kept it 1-0 and they won the game, which builds confidence for them. Same thing with Sheffield United. They won by 1 goal. And I think those 2 games build a little bit of momentum. This entire game depends on one thing and one thing only. People, in my opinion, will try and make it into multiple different factors. There's no factor, in my opinion, other than Ten Hag. Ten Hag needs to play his cards smart in this game. If he tries to do any of the over-the-top shit, if he tries to play a possession game, if he tries to do any of that, you can't be doing that against Man United, against Manchester City, sorry. I think the way that they beat Manchester City last season is how they're going to beat them again this season, which is essentially hit them on the counter-attack. But picking the personnel is going to be very vital, very important. I think you need to play Casemiro and Amrabat together. And for me, look, despite my rivalry with Man United and my hatred towards them, I don't think Manchester City are going to go away to Old Trafford and it's going to be a demolition like people make out. I don't think it's going to be 3-1, 4-1, blah, blah, blah. I actually predicted a draw or a Man United win. I think Man United will rise up in these moments. It's a Manchester derby. They're not just going to lay down for Man City. I'll take Terry actually all the way back to last season, where Liverpool were coming to Old Trafford at the start of the season. Man United had a bad start to the season. They actually got destroyed by Brighton and Brentford, and they ended up beating Liverpool 2-1. So all these people think that Man United are going to lay down just because it's Man City. That's not how life works. That's not how life works at all. So yeah, I think Man United will get something out of the game. I don't think they're going to leave the game empty-handed.
Listen, I hope you're right on that. Savva, how about yourself, mate? I mean, United are not the favourites. This is one of the very few games of the season, and it has been for many years now, where we're not the favourites at home. But a lot of people are predicting us United are going to get smashed and ripped apart, including a lot of Man United fans. A lot of Man United fans are worried about the midfield being run through, the fact that our attackers are not scoring or assisting, and we're going up against the best team in the world. How do you see this one playing out Sunday afternoon?
I don't think you're going to get smashed. I do think Man City will win. I think that everyone's making the same mistakes they make every year when they're talking about Man City. Every year, fans do this. They're not as strong as last year. They can be got at. They're not as good. They give away chances. They do this every year. It's a carbon copy of every single year. When the going gets tough, when it gets to January through to May, Man City will put the afterburners on, go on their 20-25 game run without losing or losing one, and they'll win the league. Same thing will happen as last season. The game for Sunday, sorry. Look, they've got to be favourites. Man U are just not good at the moment. Yeah, I think Man U have got away with beating some really bad teams lately. Look, Man City, are they firing on all cylinders? I don't think they are firing on all cylinders, but I just still think they've got too much for Man United. And you desperately need a centre-back pairing that isn't Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire, because I think that will get ripped apart by Haaland and Alvarez. So I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be a tight game, but I do think City will win it.
I think if they play a low block, Maguire could deal with Haaland in a low block setting, because that's all Maguire is good at. I mean, watch him with England with Southgate. When you play defensive football and essentially you're quote unquote parking the bus, then Maguire suddenly turns into a decent defender. If you want to put Maguire at halfway line or play an offensive style of football, I don't think it works. So for me, if Ten Hag is going to park the bus, then Maguire ain't. I'm not worried about Maguire. I think Maguire will play well if and only if they park the bus. That's the one scenario I'll say that they'll play well.
We must be watching a very different Harry Maguire. He's absolutely awful, and I don't think they're going to cope with them. Whether it's Doku running at them, Haaland, Alvarez, Foden, I just think they're gonna. I think City are gonna have too much. Man United
horrible, but not in a low block. That's my only point. I don't think he's a good defender.
I just don't think Man U don't play a low block, do they? That's the thing. When I watch Man U play, I don't ever see them naturally shift into a low block. That's the problem with Man United. I don't see what they are. I've said that many times. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, look, I look at it this way. I think if we play a low block, there's always a chance, and counter, there's a chance we get something out of this game. It's the only way. If we open up, if we try to play expansively, that's when I think we could get destroyed 4-5-6-7-0. Genuinely. The way Wolves Burnley at times, even Sheffield United in the first half last week. Copenhagen did at the week in midweek. The way those teams have cut through us this season, but then not had those clinical attackers, they could hurt Man United massively. So I get where you guys are coming from. And look, Maguire's kind of resurgence, he's been good in the last 3 games. He has. I'm not someone that will pinpoint it. Of course, there's been little mistakes in games, but most players, even the ones that we all rave about, make mistakes in games. But I'm also not getting carried away like there's some United fans online that are going down this weird sort of rabbit's hole of he was ruined by the signing of Lisandro Martinez. He's actually never really been that bad for the club. And I know that all of our fan bases have these group of fans that kind of do this. There'll be a group of Spurs fans, if that Dyer comes in and plays well for a few games, go, see, told you he was good. I'm sure Liverpool fans have that with players. You guys had it a lot last year with Henderson. You had it with Henderson. You had a few people doing it yesterday with Endo. He scores a goal and it was, see, told you he's class. Scored a goal against a team that nobody's heard of a single player from. And that's not a dig, but that doesn't mean he's suddenly going to be a top-class player. So the hope, Maguire will start the game, though. It looks like Rafael Varane will be fit. Whether Casemiro can return or not, that's also going to be key. I think we're just not getting a win or a point without him. We'll probably need him and Amrabat in the team together. Rashford was starting as well. The manager said that he's going to play him because he believes the goals will come back, so he's going to kind of play him through. And I know United fans want him dropped. I want him dropped. But at the same time, there's no one else to really bring in because it isn't like we've got someone knocking on the door saying, play me, I'm in great form. The most important thing for me to do, though, is to play Bruno off the striker. As soon as Bruno got moved back into that position against Copenhagen midweek, he looked like his old self. He was creating chances, opportunities. Even if he gives the ball away in the area, it's not dangerous. This man sitting deep in his own half worries me. It really worries. It's the equivalent of playing Haaland out on the right wing or in the 10 role. He'd be a completely ineffective player that would barely impact a game. And that's what we do when we play Bruno too deep.
Haaland's ineffective in big games anyway, so it's not like you have anything to worry about. Away, Big Six stadium, he don't do well. So.
Well, I haven't looked at the stats.
Isn't there only one team he hasn't scored against, though? Isn't it just
where he scored against Arsenal away last year? Did he not? Maybe I'm wrong.
He scored the fourth goal. Come on.
Yeah, but he still scored.
Again, this is what I mean. When we come out with sweeping statements like Haaland is ineffective against big teams, he scored against
away from home, I said.
It doesn't matter whether it's away from home or not. Erling Haaland scored against Real Madrid last year. He scored in the semi-finals, the quarterfinals. He scored how many in the group stage of the Champions League?
He didn't score against Real Madrid.
He not scored one against Real Madrid?
No, he didn't. They won 5-1. He didn't score a single goal. He has 0 goals, 0 assists in any semi-final or final.
Okay, I stand corrected on that one then. But has he scored against every Premier League team other than one, hasn't he? Isn't there one that he's not scored against, like Liverpool?
Yeah, but in big away games, I didn't see him scoring. He didn't score against Spurs away. He didn't score against Liverpool away. He didn't score against Man United away. He didn't score against Chelsea away either. Arsenal are a different thing because City are better Arsenal, and he scored the 4th goal anyway. I could be wrong. I don't even think he scored at the Emirates. I think he scored at the Etihad.
I'm just looking here in the Premier League. Since he's only 1 year he's been here. He's scored 3 goals already against Man United. He's got one against he got 1 against Newcastle. He's got 1 against Tottenham, none against Chelsea, none against Liverpool, none against Brentford. But he scored at least 1 versus everybody else.
None against Spurs as well. He didn't score against Spurs away.
Well, he scored against Spurs at home.
At home,
according to this.
I'm just thinking the away games.
Yeah. So no, I understand that, but I think it's Haaland only having. I don't even like defending City players in this preview, but I've got to here. Only having had 1 season in England, and he hasn't been away from home against many of these guys yet. Once he's had 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 years, and he ain't doing it, then maybe. But he's going to start scoring against these teams away from home at some point.
When he does, we'll have that conversation. So far, I'm going off a pack, so he hasn't done that yet.
Does it matter if he's scoring home or away? If he's scoring the goals, isn't that the point of having a team that other people can score in those games, right? Isn't that the?
I think it matters. Away from home at a Big Six side, all the players that have massive legacies in football history, to be honest with you, all have big moments away from their own backyard. Like all of them have moments that they've done it in big away games. Stevie G, Frank Lampard, all the players, all the great players have done that away from home.
If it matters, why did Man City win a treble?
That's not the point. I'm not saying it. I'm not.
So it
Haaland is
matter.
not going to get in the way of them winning a treble. I'm just talking about Haaland away from. Okay, Savva, we're previewing Man United against Man City at Old Trafford. Now, based on previous evidence, not my opinion, based on previous evidence, Haaland hasn't scored away from home against the top 6 side. So that's it.
Yeah, but
me mentioning a fact has nothing to do with
no. I know you're mentioning
treble,
you're mentioning a fact, Husam, but I feel like what you're doing with that fact is I know you're putting in the caveat of, well, let's see what happens when he does it. But let me ask you a question. Do you think he will start scoring away from home against the top 6 sides?
Until I see it, I'm not going to think nothing. He has to show it.
Hang on. So I want to make sure I got it right. So you don't believe that Erling Haaland...
I don't think he'll score this Sunday.
Okay, but you don't think he's going to start scoring against top 6 sides away from home?
I don't know. Maybe it's a voodoo. Maybe it's a bad luck thing for him. I don't know. Players have... Thierry Henry never scored a goal in a final. And he's the best Premier League player of all time, in my opinion. So
yeah, but you play 6 times, 6, maybe 7 now, including Newcastle. You play 6 or 7 times a year away from home in the Premier League against these teams. If Thierry Henry was playing 7 finals a season for 10 years, he'd have scored in one of them eventually. But you don't play in as many finals.
Possibly,
so it's
possibly
different.
Possibly.
It's different, but I'm not going to defend a City player anymore in relation to this. But look, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. What's crazy about the league, though, gents, is if Man United win, they look in trouble, even more trouble. If they win, they go 3 points behind the title favourites, which, from a points point of view, puts us into a position where if you can start growing and getting better, you're doing okay. So it's so early in the campaign.
I told you City ain't winning the league. I told you City ain't winning the league. I don't think they win the league this season. I think it'll be us or
and who have you moved on to then? Because you predicted Arsenal at the beginning of the season.
No, I still stick by that right now.
Do you think it's going to be Liverpool now?
No. I still think it'll be Arsenal. But if we make signings in January, then it changes for us. Because, by the way, this season, the start of the season had just proved what I've already been saying in the summer, which is we need a DM, clearly. So we've been winning games, which is impressive, even without a DM. But I still think we need a DM, and I still think we need a centre-back. A DM even more than we need a centre-back, but I still think we need more.
Why are we, by the way, Erling Haaland scored against Bayern Munich away last year, Arsenal away, Newcastle away. These are quite big teams, no? So I'm just saying, why
not
are we...
big 6 teams?
I mean, Arsenal are not a big 6 team?
Other than the Arsenal one, yeah. Which I already said.
Bayern Munich?
That's a quarter final. When we're talking about knockouts, I said semis and finals.
Okay, right. Okay. So basically, every time he scored, there's just a reason why that didn't count. Right. Okay.
My statement was crystal clear. You wanted to rebuttal it. You stood corrected, and then you went back, and you were still stood corrected. So he didn't score against Madrid. That was a semi.
No. I said I stand corrected on the Madrid one.
Yeah, okay. So I was talking about semis, finals, big games away at the big 6 sides. He didn't score any of them, other than Arsenal, which I already said.
And Bayern Munich. So in the
That's a quarter final.
Oh, it doesn't mean anything. Quarterfinal of the Champions League, not a big game.
That's not what Bayern Munich. I said semis and finals.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You said it's not a big game.
Yeah, but if you're responding to something, I say respond to what I said. I said semis and finals.
Can I ask why all of a sudden are we just discounting Man City from winning the Premier League?
Who's discounting them?
You just did.
What? Because I have a prediction that they won't win it. I'm discounting them.
Hang on, let's rewind about 120 seconds. You literally just sat there and said, I've told you Man City are not winning the league this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're winning the league.
Sure, okay. That's what I just said. So why are you discounting them? Why won't they?
That's not discounting them. I still think City are in the title race. They could win. They could win the league. By my opinion, they won't. I think Arsenal are going to win the league this season. If you're asking about my prediction, my prediction is Arsenal are going to win the league.
Listen,
I said if we buy a DM in January, then it could become us. That's my prediction.
This is just ridiculous. You've literally come out and said Man City will not win the league. Then when
but they'll be in the title race, of course.
But then when I ask you why are you discounting them from winning the title, which you've said they will not win, you say I've not discounted it. You've said they will not win the league. Why?
Okay, discounting them is like them not in a title race.
Cool.
Like I discount Chelsea, I discount Man United, I discount Spurs. I don't discount Man City. They're in there.
Oh my God, this is such hard work. Are Man City winning the title?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. let me rephrase this then, because you've made that really hard work. Why? That was the only bloody question, and you just.
Oh, I don't think they're going to win 4 in a row. I don't think they're going to win 4 in a row. There's a reason why. There's a reason why it's never happened before in history. Even the likes of Ferguson and Paisley and the great teams before in English history. Why? I'm about to get to it. In English history, they've not won 4 in a row. They've won 3 in a row only. I think Man City this season, the earliest prediction I made was that Man City are going to win the Champions League. I made that prediction as soon as the referee blew the full-time whistle in Istanbul. I said they're going to go back-to-back. I believe City aren't going to leave the season empty-handed. They're going to win the champs. But I don't think their motivational levels are going to be as high as they were in previous seasons. And I think, look, doing 4 in a row is extremely difficult because the 2 greatest managers England has seen, in my opinion, haven't done it for good reason, even with the great teams they had. So 4 in a row is a record too far, in my opinion.
Okay, so they've not got the quality to win the title.
I think they'll win the Champions League this season, not the Premier League.
Okay, that's not what I asked. So have they not got the quality to win the title?
No, they have the quality to win it, 100%. But that's not my prediction.
It's what I don't understand.
Is they won't.
So your argument is all based on history and teams have not done it before, which is why they won't.
Yes. My prediction is based on history and motivational levels. I just don't think they'll be there.
History and motivational levels. All right.
Yes.
So what you've seen from this, they've got no motivation. Is that what we're saying?
So you just changed my words to try win a debate?
No, so they've got no motivation to win it again.
Minutes?
So they've got no motivation to win it again.
So you just went from I'm questioning motivation levels to they have no motivation. There's
no motivation to win it.
No. I'm just saying the motivation levels aren't there like an Arsenal or a Liverpool.
Terry, sort out your chat. Do you know what? Honestly, it's got to that stage where, listen, I mean, I'm literally on here trying to chat football and all I'm doing is clown, knob, wanker, arsehole. Like, Jesus Christ. People have got to just calm down.
Calm it down in the chat. Look, what I'll say, look, in terms of this debate.
Hang on, can I just say, Terry, listen, do you know what? Whether it's Husam takes it better than I do or not, people who come onto panel shows are humans, right? Sorry, everyone who comes into these shows are humans, and some of the shit I'm seeing in the chat is just wow. The abuse is just unbelievable, like unbelievable. Just relax, man. It's just football chat. Me and Husam are gonna have. I don't think this is personal. Hopefully, Husam hasn't taken any of this personal. Never. So everything's good. We're just having a heated football debate, but wow, it's just like. Some of the shit getting talked about is just mental. Like, do you know what? Do you know what? I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you, Terry, right? People don't always know everybody and what's going on. Just relax. Just relax. Stop the abuse. Just say you disagree or agree. Just stop the abuse. Sorry, Terry. It's just no. It's too much. It's like every comment is just like, look. Savva, you're getting paid for. I'm not getting paid for this.
Again, this is the thing. This is what I would say to you, Sav. And again, we'll talk about it off air. But the more you focus on what they're saying, the way the internet works is more people then just start writing it.
Listen, I get it.
And I get what you're saying.
You message me. Can you come on a show? Yeah, I give up an hour and a half of my life to come on a show. Like, and cool. I've never known a show like it though. Like, just. Take a chill in the chat. We're just talking football. It's just way too much abuse. It's so personal. Just Jesus Christ, turn it down a bit.
Yeah. So in terms of this argument, I'm going to step in here. Sam didn't say there's no motivation. He just thinks because they've won it 3 on the bounce, because they've done the treble, that the motivation may not be as high as normal. And he thinks that means a team like Arsenal or Liverpool will pit them to the title. That's kind of how I heard it, as opposed to they'll have no motivation at all. I want to do some of these super chats here that have come in. This says, Sam, history is not an argument. That it's that there to be broken.
Actually, history is an argument until it changes. So Man City, like just a quick example, Man City didn't win at Old Trafford for a really long time until they went there and won 6-1. So until you change history, history is there for a reason. There is a reason why for the last 3 years, all we've been hearing about is football heritage whenever City gets eliminated in the Champions League, because history matters. So
This here says from Kate, who says, Sam is so salty. Have you got any vinegar, Terry? Is what she says there. George says, United beat them last season. Why not do it again? Husam, do you want United to win?
I don't want United to win. I want City to lose. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Look, I think if you're in a title race or believe you're going to be in a title race, you want Man United to win this, because I don't think anyone in a title race thinks we're in it. But you want City to drop points. So this is where I'm always like this. I can drop my biggest rivalries for the best result for my club at any one.
There's only one Man United goal I celebrated my whole life, and that's McTominay against Ederson, 1920, because we won the league that season. So
I think both Spurs and Liverpool are in contention for the title. As a Liverpool fan, I'm impressed by how far Spurs moved on from Kane. Well done. It's a very, very fair point. Debbie here says, and this is why Man City will walk the league.
No, they won't, Debbie.
They didn't walk it last year. They won. They didn't walk it. Liverpool fans, always the victims, is what Tony says here. Spurs fans, sleep talking. We are not making top 4. You are not making top 4. BIG says, Sam has been very, I think you mean
stoic.
Stoic. I didn't know. I know what that word is. I can't read it though. Stoic and calm. The Spurs fan is embarrassing. You're saying Husam is bitter, but you're the one that is extremely emotional. Big up H. I don't think either have been overly emotional personally. I think it's been really fun to watch. Newcastle had no win in 19 games and got out of relegation. That was never done in English football history. What and 9 games is irrelevant. I don't think it's irrelevant what Andrew's done either. Tottenham champions after 9 games, give them the trophy. That's not what Sav is saying. Terry, I'm going to give your team a chance. 2-1 City. That's not a chance, is it? We lost. It's coming down to the wire, just as long as Ten Hag doesn't screw up. I hope so. Jason here says, you are being too pedantic about the words each of you are using. This is like when I'm trying to get my kids to listen to each other. Come on, you gooners. We're arguing semantics. Move on. The ego challenge is getting stale. Husam, where was football heritage last year in the Champions League? Talk about history.
History matters until it changes.
Savva is a bit too condescending, jarring to watch. Again, I didn't read it that way. I just read it as a good, solid, grown-up debate, but that's just me. I'm behind Savva 100%. Husam has been disrespectful, is what Jim says here. Sorry, Husam has been respectful. Sorry, he says there. Sorry, I misread that, Husam. I'm sorry to misrepresent you. Big up, guys. And Sav, you're a top guy, pal. Fuck the clowns that hate. That comes from Liam. Savva, please tell me you speak about Arsenal like this last season too. Lol. He did.
By the way, Savva said that Saliba is the best player in the league this season. So
Savva
he has given Arsenal credit.
Savva was very, very, very consistent in terms of what he said about both. Like, we can't fault him on that. And has another fan base is rattled, written in history books with 23 points. Didn't even need to win a trophy to break a record. It's jealousy, is what Jim says here. Guys, the team you should be aware of is Villa. Doing well at the minute.
Too early.
I made a point. Again, this goes back to the Man United situation. Yeah, look, I agree with what you said here, John. I think there are problems with Man United. There's no doubt. And I'm very, very, very worried about the game. Big up Husam and Terry. You two are two of football CC. I don't know what CC means. The best content creators. Yeah. When Klopp unlocks Benfica at Anfield, Darwin, Sam knows alongside Salah and Diaz, it's wraps, is what has been said there.
I believe Darwin yesterday.
He broke another record last night, Mo Salah. He now has more European goals for an English club than anybody else in the history of English football. He's surpassed
the great Thierry Henry.
And on top of that, he's still on it. Him and Thierry Henry have exactly the same number of goals and assists per game playing in England. Mo Salah's efficiency is the same as Mo Salah's. He now has more goals in Europe than him. He has one more Champions League than him in English football. One less Premier League. I'm not too sure on the domestic trophies. Is Mo Salah, in your opinion, Sav, going into the GOAT conversation with the way he's playing and performing?
What do you mean the GOAT conversation? Who's in that bracket?
So I think when you talk about this, preface it with, we know that obviously Thierry Henry is in it, Wayne Rooney's name, Drogba, Shearer's, the Agueros, the Bergkamps, the players that we look at, and if we're talking attack, even if we just talk attackers here, Cristiano Ronaldo, Andy Cole, the attacking goats of the Premier League, the people that are the pin-up boys. Do you think he goes in that? And where would you, if he carries on at this rate, where do you feel he's going to rank at the end of his sort of Premier League career and career in England?
I mean, he's got to be up there for what he's done. He's been brilliant for what, 7 years? Is it 7 years he's been in the league now, or 8 or whatever? He's been brilliant. That he's got to be in there. He's got great stats. But I don't think he's anywhere near as good as some of the greats that have played in this league. He's a top player, but some of the greats, I don't think he can hold a light to them. So he's there or thereabouts, but he just wouldn't make my, I suppose, for the way you've termed it, he wouldn't make my kind of finalists, if you like. But he's in that batch of greats that have played in the Premier League.
How about yourself, Husam? Because do you know what's interesting about this debate? I've seen Liverpool fans talk about how he could become the Premier League GOAT. And there is always a chance, because part of being the GOAT is the legacy you leave behind and the way you're viewed by people. You know, the one thing about Thierry Henry, he was universally loved by fans of teams that didn't support fans that didn't support Arsenal. And Mo Salah's a bit like that. There's a lot of people, a lot of clubs that love Mo Salah. His legacy is going to be huge across world football. But he can't surely become the Premier League GOAT until he's Liverpool's Premier League GOAT, right? That's where I see it falling down.
I know exactly why you're asking.
Because if Liverpool fans want him to become the GOAT, he has to be yours, right? So, but do you see him overtaking Thierry Henry? Can he surpass Thierry Henry and leave a bigger legacy in the Premier League than Mr. Vavavoom himself?
Can he? Yes. Has he done that yet? No, in my opinion. But we can never say he can't. I mean, he could pull off the craziest next 3 years, 4 years, for Liverpool Football Club, of course, given he stays, so you never know if he can surpass him or not. It's a possibility. But in my opinion, I think Thierry Henry is the greatest Premier League player we've seen. And I stick by that. He's number one. Now, is he in the debate? Here's the thing. I think you can always have a round table and you can conversate about 8 to 10 people probably in every league. I mean, there's no reason why, Zinedine Zidane isn't the La Liga GOAT, or Messi, or Cristiano Ronaldo, or Xavi, or Iniesta, or whoever, Busquets. You can always talk about 8 to 10 people. You can always mention a group of people in that elite list. I think he's in the elite list. Like, he's in the top 10, top 12 players. So if you're, by definition, in my opinion, if you're one of the 10 best players to play in the Prem, or one of the 12 best players to play in the Prem, then by definition you're elite. I think he's gone past Hazard, in my opinion. I think him and Ronaldo are the greatest Premier League wingers. So in terms of his position, he's either one or two, in my opinion. I think for me, I still have Henry as number one. But the records that Mo Salah keeps breaking, and this is something that me and Terry talk about as well on Straight Facts. Look, the one thing that Mo Salah has had that's unbelievable is something that players like genuinely struggle with. Because the biggest difference between Michu and Harry Kane is Michu done it for a year and Harry Kane done it for 10 years. That's why people highly regard Harry Kane and people disregard Michu. So with Mo Salah, the fact that he's done it consistently is why he's in these debates, is why he's in these conversations. I mean, people were telling me in the summer, and Terry was there, from a business perspective, you're never going to get blah, 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 a million. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about million this, million that. Factually speaking, in my opinion, he sits on the current best player in the world list. Like you're saying right now, Bellingham, you're saying Mo Salah, you're saying Rodri, you're saying players like that. Like, he's in the list. He's on the list of the best players right now on earth. If you're saying overall person, I put him one based on form this season. But he's in the elite list. Can he overtake Henry? Yes. Has he overtaken him yet? No. Henry is still the GOAT for me. So, yeah, I think Henry is different. Like, look, Salah he's special, but he needs to do it like I don't know, man. Like, this is such a difficult question. He's probably needs a bit more, maybe 2-3 more years. you know, stuff like that. Maybe 2 more golden boots.
I think
I think Salah already has more golden boots. I could be wrong though. He has 3. Henry has 3, right?
When we're talking about greats, I think the difficulty is how many times has he like led Liverpool to glory? I think he's, you know, it goes past the stage where we're talking about longevity and with like, you know, straight away there, Ryan Giggs' name wasn't mentioned as one of the greatest wingers that ever played in the Premier League.
He is the greatest Premier League winger. He just is. The problem is with Ryan Giggs is because of all the off the field stuff. Even the Premier League has left him out of Hall of Fame stuff. So it's people don't really like talking about him because they don't want to be seen to be. I mean, even though the court case has been thrown out now, people that's what it normally is. But I agree. For me, Ryan Giggs, because of the longevity, what he won, and his impact on the team. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, yeah, Ryan Giggs was just different class for how many 18 seasons, 17 seasons, whatever, and then moved into midfield and did it there as well. Look, Mo Salah's a top player. He's a top player for me. I think to be talked about as the best. I think he needed to have taken Liverpool to a few more titles. You know, again, it's always difficult because if we're going to talk about longevity, for example, it's difficult, right? You know, because some players were in this league for a year. Some players have been in the league for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. How do you judge who was better? Are we doing it on games? Are we doing it on goals? Are we doing it on assists? A conversation I have on my show quite a lot, right? When I talk about my favourite winger that played in the Premier League is David Ginola. Now, people of today will look at David Ginola and go, oh, but goals and assists. It's like, yeah, but that wasn't his game. Not assists, he's assisted, but it was different. It was a 4-4-2. As opposed to now where players like Son and Salah and Hazard don't play in a 4-4-2 as wingers. They are more wide forward. So it's really difficult when we're trying to judge people against players from different eras.
Do you know, Sav, I think you're right, but this is the thing for me. That's why if you say who's the greatest ever player to play in the Premier League, it's just Cristiano Ronaldo, because no one else that's been here has done in football what he's done. They just haven't. The greatest individual that's ever played here is Ronaldo. He has more goals. You look at all the trophies, the Champions Leagues, the Ballon d'Ors. For me, he's the greatest footballer that's ever been in the
king, man.
No, listen, but Cristiano Ronaldo.
I see what you're saying. I agree with both of you. For me, the best player that's ever played in the Premier League is Thierry Henry. But I get what you're saying, Terry. In terms of Ronaldo's the greatest player, right? He's talked about as one of the world's best free.
So if you're looking at a player's complete career and then said who's the best player to be in the Premier League, then I put Ronaldo in that bracket. If you're looking at who's the Premier League's greatest ever player or biggest legend, it may not be Ronaldo because he wasn't here as long as some of those other individuals. So you have to make sure you frame the conversation in the right way. So that's why longevity is important, because for me, you might have had a brilliant 4 years here, but if somebody's had a brilliant 10 years, even if your brilliant 4 years were better, I look at that longevity as very, very important. If you actually go through football and look at certain players, even people that have won Ballon d'Ors, and look at how long they were actually tip-top world-class for, some of them only last 3 or 4 years. And it's a slow burn till they get there, and then they drop off quickly afterwards. So longevity matters. And I always judge players on 4 pillars. Always have done, always will do. Ability, which is key. Their outputs. It's a lot easier to do when it comes to strikers and attackers. I look at their longevity and consistency. So how long did they maintain their quality at the highest level? And you look at Giggs as an example, 40 years old, still dominating in midfield or on the wing and winning Premier Leagues and was pivotal. And then I look at trophies. So I look at when I say trophies, a lot of people who have a legend that hasn't won so many, they hate it. I go, Luke Chadwick's won trophies. And again, I'll premise it with your individual impact on winning those trophies. So Salah's impact on the League Cups, the FA Cup, the leagues and the Champions League that Liverpool have won has been instrumental. So just because Jonathan Greening has more Premier Leagues and as many Champions Leagues as Mo Salah, they don't go into the same bucket because they both have trophies, because Jonathan Greening did little to nothing to impact Man United winning them, as an example. So I look at all 4 of those areas and go, so for instance, you can go, Ginola, more ability than any winger that's around right now. Yes, but how did he perform in title-winning runs? How did he perform in clutch matches? How long did he maintain that level? And was he doing it for one of the biggest clubs? And it is harder playing for the bigger clubs for multiple reasons: pressure, the way teams set up against you. All these things kind of are covered by those 4 pillars. And when I look at Mo Salah...
You can flip that as well, Terry. You can flip that as well and say to do that for a lower club and stand out, is very difficult to do as well, right? So if you look at Gareth Bale, for example.
Yes, it is. And Gareth Bale then went on and did it at a massive club. Spurs weren't where they are even under Poch when Bale was there.
No,
the reason why I think when you go to a bigger club it's harder is because, typically speaking, when teams are at their best, I'm not talking about Man United in 2023, when we were at our pomp, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, most teams sit back against you. Most teams sit deep against you. Most teams double up on your attackers. They make it hard. There's limited space. We all saw what Jesse Lingard did when he moved to West Ham. For instance, I look at Jared Bowen. Every time I've seen Jared Bowen play against teams where he doesn't have room to run in behind, he isn't as good. Jamie Vardy, when he has to play against low blocks, he's nowhere near as good. When he was running in behind in those early years at Leicester, where teams are pushing up against them, Jamie Vardy killed it. Could Jamie Vardy lead the line for this Man City team? I don't personally think so. So the goals he's got and the trophy he's got are brilliant. But then I look at that there's other factors in there as well that you have to put in. And I think a lot of that comes down to ability. But you can't always prove your ability unless you go to one of the giant clubs. So I do think playing for a bigger team helps you in those arguments because I think the pressure's higher. You know, one of the reasons why I always look at Matt Letizia as a great talent, but he's nowhere near the conversation for best player in the Prem, is we never even saw him once have a tough game in a title race. So we have no idea how Matt Letizia would have performed in 10, 11 games at the end of the season in the title race. It's why Harry Kane's goals, as great as they are, don't mean as much to me as Rooney's, as Aguero's, as Henry's, as Mo Salah's, because we never saw him doing it in title races. When you've got to score today to win, or you're under that pressure to win again. We've seen those guys do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And that's not a dig at Kane. It's just simply a case of that's the standard that I set. And when I look at Mo Salah, back to the point I was making, for me, on ability, I don't think he's never going to beat Thierry Henry. But on outputs, consistency, and impact on winning major trophies, he could win on all 3 of those categories. He genuinely could win on all 3 of those categories in my own mind. A lot of people base it on ability, but ability is too subjective, in my personal opinion. It's far too subjective.
Yeah, but I think Harry Kane is probably, in my opinion, maybe a top 3-4 striker in Premier League history, despite him not winning a league. And the reason why I say that is I always use the reverse argument. Look, 3 years ago when Harry Kane was supposed to move to Man City, I don't think anyone would have sat here and said that City weren't going to win the league. Like, City were going to win the league. Now, your argument will be, we've never seen it. Okay, you're right. We have never seen it. But based on Harry Kane's consistency, you could make that argument easily because Harry Kane was a player for Spurs that was really consistent for a large period of time. So if I took Harry Kane, let's say the infamous Kane-Aguero argument, the argument in football that's been here for the last 50 years, if I take Aguero and put him in Spurs versus I take Kane and put him at Man City, what happens? And if I take Harry Kane and I put him in Man City, I think Man City, you could even argue, probably are even more successful, in my opinion. Specifically the version of Kane we saw towards the end, which is the all-round football.
I do understand that. But if we go back to a conversation an hour and a half ago, that's if, buts, and maybes. That's if there wasn't a red card, we don't know what the game would have been, right? So if we have that logic for individual games, we can't suddenly introduce that logic for measuring greatness. And I do think there's a difference between
Terry. Look at Kane,
right?
I'm not saying this. I'm a Spurs fan, right? I'm just saying, look at Kane. How many years in a row did the guy bang in goals?
He did. He did, and I think
against everyone. Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. This guy scored against.
He did, and I was about to answer it. He did, but he did it for Spurs, where, in my personal opinion, there's less pressure than playing for Liverpool and Man United as examples. And why do we know this? Because players have moved from those clubs, gone to those clubs, and gone, "Fuck me, the world's different." You've even seen what Harry Kane said about moving to Bayern Munich. He's like, "Wow, the pressure." Let me finish my point, mate. Let me finish my point. Equally, when it comes to Harry Kane, he had to make that decision. We judge players all the time on their decision making. If a player sits at home every evening eating pie and mash and getting fat, we judge him. If a player stays up late too late playing computer games, ain't training properly, we judge him. If a player decides to stay at a smaller club for too long and doesn't test himself at teams that can win titles, that's also one. It is not subjective at all. He stayed at Spurs, and nobody truly believed. Most football fans, forget what the media said, forget what Spurs fans think. Most football fans didn't believe that Spurs were title contenders in nearly any of the seasons. Those early couple of years around the Leicester time, yes, but no one ever looked at Spurs and went, they'll definitely be title contenders this year. And Harry Kane stayed. He made the wrong decision. And at the end of the day, Kane is one of the best strikers the Premier League has had, I agree. But he ain't one of the greatest. He isn't one of the greatest because he hasn't achieved the things. He can't be one of the. You cannot be one of the greatest without achieving what the greats achieved. You can't be one of the greatest boxers in the world without achieving what the greats have done. You can't be one of the greatest Olympic. You can't be one of the greatest 100-meter sprinters without achieving what the greatest 100-meter sprinters have done.
Yeah,
Harry Kane is a technical footballer in terms of his goal scoring is amazing. He's brilliant. I'm not playing him down. Your greatness and your overall quality, i.e. how good you are, for me, are two separate conversations. He has little to no greatness in the Premier League because he hasn't achieved anything of any merit, which is winning trophies. And I love Harry Kane. I love him. That's why I wanted to, that is why I wanted him to leave your club for 5 or 6 years. Because for me, I am not allowing Harry Kane, just me personally, whatever my opinion is worth, I'm not letting him dine on the table with the legends when they're all sitting there with multiple medals and trophies and he ain't got diddly squat. He can't come in the club.
But let's let's rewind and apply a little bit of context and logic to what you just said there. Right? Kane wanted to leave and no one came in and paid what the club wanted to pay. If you can only move if someone pays enough money to take you. The problem is Kane was so good that he priced himself out of a move to a bigger club until now when he had 1 year left on his contract. So it doesn't always work like that. In this day and age, how much is Harry Kane worth? Let's pretend Harry Kane didn't have 1 year on his contract. How much is a striker that guarantees you 30 to 40 goals a season in all competitions worth in this market?
But he's worth a lot of money. But hang on. But let me. I'm going to respond. I'm going to respond. Like Harry Kane, full market value at his age now, 150 million. Right. What I'm saying about Harry, I get your point. When you say context and logic, he tried to leave in the summer of 2001, I believe, and he was priced out. But he was priced out because 3 years later, he signed a new 6-year deal, which again, I can only speak for myself, that I said at the time was stupid because I did not believe, hang on. Sure. I did not believe the same as you don't believe. You don't believe that Daniel Levy, Spurs fans always tell us, Daniel Levy is never going to do enough to win us a title. So we believe you and say, well, Harry Kane's a bloody idiot for staying then. Because in my opinion, you have to be in the title races. You have to be in the finals. You have to be a team that is under immense pressure to win, to truly become a great in this sport. Ability is only one part of it. And on ability is one of the best we've ever seen. But ability and greatness are not the same thing in any sport ever. Because there are some boxers out there who are technically better than world champions.
No, I understand that we're not talking about boxing. But we're not talking about boxing.
We're talking about sport and greatness. And the difference is... No, but there is no but, Savva. When it comes
there is. Hang on, Terry.
There isn't. You can't tell me a great athlete, a great sports person who hasn't achieved greatness. I don't want to know about their ability. I don't want to know how fast they are. I don't know how good they are at kick-ups. I don't want to know how good they are at potting the black ball. Tell me the greats who didn't achieve greatness. It's a different conversation. And this is what we did this earlier. I agree with you. He's in the top 5 when it comes to best. We're in agreement. Greatness is not the same thing. And your point was, well, Harry Kane tried to leave but couldn't. That's because he stupidly signed a 6-year deal in 2018. Hang on. Stupid man he was.
It's a very lazy argument, right? At the time that Harry Kane...
It's a counter to your argument.
Hang on. At the time that Harry Kane signed a 6-year contract, Tottenham were going like that. Tottenham were going like that. He was bound to sign a new contract, right? Because we were doing well. Right, he was in his prime. He was scoring goals. The club was going well. Right. The problem is, Terry, if someone's not going to pay and take you when Daniel Levy is your chairman, how do you just leave? Like I get it. People say just leave.
Well, I can answer you. He could have refused to train because they actually promised him a move. That's already come. He said goodbye.
What would that have done?
Well, he could have. Okay, so there's two things here. One, he could have forced the move. Okay, he could have pushed the move. He could have gone even harder. He could have refused to train. He could have been sat with the under-18s, and eventually they would have sold him. 2 years earlier, they'd have got rid. Eventually, you go if you kick up enough of a fuss. He could have done that. That is an option. It's a nuclear option. It's a nuclear. Hang on. So you're telling me Daniel Levy wouldn't get rid of a player who refused? Of course he would. However, that you've just there. Sorry,
I'll
Sav,
take it seriously if you're saying that about Daniel Levy. You've got to know who you're dealing with.
Sav, but exactly. Now you're just going to prove on my second point. Daniel Levy's this, Daniel Levy. That's all I've heard from Spurs fans for 5-6 years. Daniel Levy is a charlatan. So again, I said this back then. I didn't care that your team was doing this because you were all telling us that it was always going to fall apart because Daniel Levy doesn't care enough. So based on what Spurs fans say about Daniel Levy, in my opinion, based on your view on Levy and Enoch, I think Harry Kane signing a new deal was stupid because I never believed they were trying to build a club that's the greatest footballing team in the world. I believe they were trying to build a club to get the best commercial gain they could get.
We don't know what they told Kane.
Again, but that's still his decision, bro. He's still got to do his due diligence. He's still got to research it. He made the decision to stay. It's on him. He made it.
Hang on. It's pointless. Yeah, cool. We'll end it then. Pointless.
Why is it pointless? How is it not Harry Kane's decision?
As a Spurs fan, I know the situation the club were in. You don't, right? I know Levy. You don't. This whole just don't train. Daniel Levy's not going to go, oh, Kane's not training. Go on, he can go for 70 million now.
I didn't say that.
Hang on. Daniel Levy doubles down on that, and Kane is there until he starts playing again, right? This is the problem. There are too many people that don't know Tottenham. Everyone's an expert on Tottenham Hotspur. You don't know Tottenham, right? When he signed that new contract, he should not have signed a new 6-year contract. Sure. But one, we're football fans. We don't know what promises were made. We don't know what stipulations were made. We don't know what promises were broken. We're assuming we know. We're assuming we know all of that, but we don't. Again, it's about what...
And I understand that, Sav, but you're also assuming things. You're assuming Daniel Levy would never have sold him if he refused to play. I understand, but you are because
we know Daniel Levy. That's not an assumption.
Hang on a minute. Again, but then I know Daniel Levy as well, and he lies to people. Therefore, why the fuck would Kane believe him when signing a new deal? So your argument to counteract he wouldn't have sold him undoes your argument around we can't blame him for signing a new deal because it's all about Daniel Levy, and that's my point.
True. Well, that's not true.
It reads the same to me. Listen, and as I say, mate, I'll concede to you on the argument that Daniel Levy wouldn't have sold him if he kicked up a fuss. Bro, I'll concede that argument. But back to the original point, was actually about Mo Salah. As technically gifted and as brilliant a player as Harry Kane is, in my personal opinion, he can't sit on the table with Ryan Giggs. He can't sit on the table with Thierry Henry. He can't sit on the table with KDB and Aguero. These guys, in their own right, are equally as technically brilliant at their own roles, but they delivered trophy after trophy after record. He doesn't get into the club, and that's why I'm so proud and happy that Kane left and joined the big club. He's doing brilliantly in Germany.
Yeah,
and he's winning.
Cool. Listen, I need to jump.
All right, then, mate.
I'll be honest, your chat is fucking awful. I need to jump. I'll see you later. Can't even just have a football debate about that without... See you later.
All right, Sav. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. That's at the end of the show anyway, people. Listen, do us a big favor, people, and smash the like button before you leave today. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. Terry is anti-Spurs. No, I'm not anti-Spurs. It's really not about being anti-Spurs. If you've watched my shows for 5, 6, 7 years, when it comes to greatness conversations, Sam will tell you this. It doesn't matter what player it involved from any club, but I'm so consistent with my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right.
We've debated Gerrard like this. Probably.
I'm just not going to sit there and listen. Gerrard has won multiple FA Cups, League Cups, UEFA Cups, Champions Leagues. Harry Kane and no Tottenham player of the last 20 years can sit on a table with him. I don't care how good they were at passing the ball, how nice their first touch was. Football isn't just about ability. If it was, we wouldn't celebrate trophies the way we do. We wouldn't do it. We would celebrate the goal in a 3-0 win at home against Brighton in the same way we would the winning goal in the Champions League final if those goals that led to trophies didn't mean more. It's a nonsense for me. And the only time that people ever want to play down doing it in title-winning teams is when they love a player who hasn't won anything. As soon as it's the other way around and they've got a player that's got loads of trophies, the trophies become, and we saw this when it was a Souness Pogba debate. Liverpool fans went from trophies aren't the be-all and end-all to put your medals on the table, and we saw it. And I'm just consistent with it, but that's just me. Listen, Husam, always a pleasure to speak to you. Savva as well on the show. It was really, really good. Oh, actually, we've got some super chats here. I can't ignore these. Sorry, I forgot about them. This one here says, toughen up, Sav. Come on, man. Sticks and stones. Don't let the texts hurt your feelings. Mo Salah's Europa League goals don't count. Embarrassing.
No,
They definitely count as goals. Who's your Prem top 2? Mine is Henry and Ronaldo. It's a pretty good top 2. I'm going to go Giggs and
Probably
Scholes.
those two, you have to say. Or Henry and one of the defenders. You have to show the defenders some love. In my opinion, one guy who I always put in conversations that I don't think gets enough love is someone that no one will expect me to mention, and that's Ashley Cole. I think Ashley Cole belongs in any top table debate you want to have in the Premier League. He's just elite. He's done it at both ends. He's locked up some of the best players to ever grace football. Whichever argument you want to bring to the table, Ashley Cole is in there. Like, he's him. So Ashley Cole is definitely someone you have to respect for me. I know it's a left back and it's not sexy to put a left back next to Henry, but like I think Ashley Cole's unbelievable.
I hear you, but I've got to get through these super chats really quick because I'm so late for what I'm doing tonight. A big up, Sav. Don't let the hate get to you, legend. Don't listen to the chat. Do your thing, but sometimes in these shows you have to sit back, stay firm, hold your hand up, and say, "What a trophy for Spurs." Question, gents: Alan Shearer or Ian Rush? Because trophies wise, Rush. I would go with Ian Rush personally. Again, a lot of his stuff was before the Premier League, but Ian Rush was ridiculously good. And I swear he has more goals than Shearer as well. I swear he does.
436 goals, I believe it was for a year.
Yeah, I think he's got more. It's just that he doesn't have the Premier League record because they were spread. His goals are spread over 2 comps. Terry, last week said Chelsea fans were delusional for thinking we could perform against Arsenal, and he spent an hour saying we're getting spun. Address it. There isn't the time to now on the show because we've really run out of time. This here says Kane has never showed up in big games. Prolific loser. Well, not in finals.
Top goal scorer
now, Shearer. Well, Shearer's won a Premier League though. So, but then the reason I don't hold Shearer as high as other people is because they've all won more than him. So the logic remains the same for me. Savva, who is the greatest, Wilt Chamberlain or Michael Jordan? He ain't here to answer, but I'm just going to go Michael Jordan because I know the other guy. But there we go. Listen, everyone, I love you all very, very much. We're live after Spurs versus Crystal Palace, so make sure you're all tuning in. Take care. Goodbye. God bless, and I'll see you.